And welcome to Knowledge is Power Podcast Live, everybody. And we're back again on a special Thursday evening edition. And I'd like to thank the audience who has joined us and always join us on Podcast Live. Well, I'm sorry, not Podcast Live, but Knowledge is Power Podcast Live. Knowledge is Power. Let me explain to you. It's a platform that we have put together here for the community of Southeast Texas. Knowledge is Power Podcast Live is for financial education, money management. It also in educating Southeast Texas African American communities with viable information on health, education, local politics, business, personal finances, and leadership coaching. And again, let me welcome to Knowledge is Power. This is our roundtable that we do every first Thursday of each month. And I'm going to bring on my guest here tonight. And my guest will be here coming on. There we go. There we go. That's my guest. My guest is Unc Chris Jones from the South End, Texas, and
Yes,
Terry
sir.
Roy. Hello, tell the audience hello. Terry Roy and Perry Busby Jr. and also James Ella Jr. who's joining my special, my
Hello, hello,
special,
hello.
our special guest. How you guys doing?
Appreciate it.
Doing
All
good. All is
right.
well. All is well.
All
Good
right,
evening,
all right,
everybody.
man. I
What's
tell you,
going on?
hey, it's good to see you all again. It's been a while, it's been a whole month. We was in last time we saw each other was in July, uh,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
um, and now
yeah,
we're
that's
in
about right.
August. August, don't be so mean to us. Come on, we got
right,
the second
right.
half of the
Hopefully not.
year. We gotta make it happen the second half of the year. Before I get started, guys, I want
Right.
to cut you guys off. I want to kind of make sure that we know that we are the. I'm sorry, that's the wrong ad, but I want to make sure that we know that the census U.S. Census 2020. That's the wrong ad as well. So I want to notify you all is that the 2020 census will still need to register for that so that we can bring more money to our community. Remember that we are going into a general election coming in November. And we've got some power hitters that we're going to be pushing and promoting and endorsing for Jefferson County positions. And we're going to have those guests. Matter of fact, we're going to have those guests on the 23rd of this month, the third Sunday of this month. We're going to have, no, I'm sorry, the fourth Sunday of this month. We're going to have the Jefferson County candidates that is running for election in November. And let's see here. That's kind of, let me go back to on let everyone know my guest that's coming on the board. Hey, guys, I'm going to have the 100 plus women going to be with us as well. Uh, with Bobby Pallison on next Tuesday, the 18th. At 8 o'clock, and also Dr. Deborah Williams with the National Association of University Women would be with us, and that's going to be a great podcast that they're going to be visiting with me and letting the viewers know what they're all doing and what their platform and their mission. On Sunday, this Sunday coming, uh, Dr. Portier, Port Arthur Independent School District superintendent is going to be with us on Sunday at 7 o'clock, and along with Dr. Allen with the Beaumont Independent School District, are going to join us on Sunday. Please join us. Please join us on that. Uh, please join us on Sunday. That's going to be a wonderful event there, and
Hey, Tony, you booked, man.
yeah, I am actually really booked.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty much of August. Oh, by the way, Tuesday, I guess the Tuesday the 18th. Yes, Tuesday 18th of August. I'm going to have Beaumont, the city of Beaumont Mayor, Big Ames, is going to be with us. So
Yeah,
y'all
you
come,
booked,
Wow. Okay.
booked.
yeah,
You
y'all come
booked,
on.
booked.
Yeah, I'm booked. And so we are going to keep it going, keep it going, going. Uh, guys, this round table, we don't have anything, just one topic we talk about. We talk about everything.
Everything.
Everything goes.
Indeed.
Yeah,
So
we talk
why
about everything.
everything. What we're going to talk about? Let's talk about it. Yeah.
I do want to welcome the watchers and listeners to the podcast. Most of you guys know me as Unc. Um, One of the things I want to talk about tonight is Tony. I'm glad you touched on the situation of the census and how important that is to underserved communities, especially to be counted. And that's one of
Mhm.
the reasons that our communities or those communities are considered to be underserved. Um, and with that being said, I want to say maybe a few Tuesdays ago, uh, one of the grant writers for the city of Beaumont presented some information to them for some monies that they wanted to, I guess, go grab or should be in the option to go grab. The grant writers and the grant has to, I guess, portray and as well as show that they are going to alleviate something of those individuals do consist of um, North End, South End, South Park, some of Central Beaumont, some of Pear Orchard, different parts of the area of Beaumont is considered to be low to moderate income because of the income that they have, whether they're on a fixed income or what. So the city is in talks of also dispersing monies or going get monies for low to moderate income neighborhoods. So again, that brings us back to the census. If you have been counted and considered to be living in a low to moderate income, you definitely want to one be counted in the census so that funding like these can automatically go to your area where you don't have to prove that you're living in some type of disparity. The monies would just come to your area because of growth and economic development, as well as residential enhancements and development. So I do want to piggyback on you for letting people know how important the census is, and to get that in, get everybody in your household counted, so that we can receive not only funding but resources when we have hurricanes and other issues of natural disaster.
Yeah. And so I guess to that, I guess I would ask, uh, if people aren't, then why aren't our people engaging in the census? I mean, if we know this, what? So is there a breakdown within our community, and if so, where?
Mr. Perry, me personally, I think the breakdown has been in our community, and I speak as a young African American male who have moved to Texas at a young age, but I
Mm-hmm.
understood what the census was. Um, my my family participated in the census. They have been counted for generations, um, and the stigma in most of the African American communities is that they just trying to count they just kind of trying to count Negroes to see how many they got to wipe out, or to see how many that they can underserve, or to just different stereotypes and beliefs
Right.
of
Yep.
of that goes with the census, as well as the medical field. So I mean,
Right.
we have a lot of hangups um when it comes to participating in the U.S. Census
Right.
and being counted
Right.
in the U.S. Census.
Right. Right. And so since we know it's gonna be bullshit, We got that bullshit plus the other, which is to undercount. I mean, now there is that legitimacy.
Yes, sir.
So how do we balance that in our community that no, we have to get counted? I mean, because therein lies, the political power as well, because now we have issues where we have these gerrymandered districts where it's just enough blacks in the district not to make a difference.
Yes, sir. And just enough blacks to consider that area as a low to moderate income area.
Right. And
Mr. Perry, man.
It's all just like voting. They suppressed it in voting, and now they're doing it with the census.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Right.
I mean, and so we can't run from these real pivotal messages, because if it's some bullshit in the community, oh man, it's gonna flow. Yep. So how do we get this to flow?
That's a good question.
Is the lack of or loss of voting and also taking note of census, is it lost on? I mean, we know that the elderly gets out there, right? Is it lost on the youth? And as of what age group of the youth do you think that it stops at? Like, what is the actual demographic or ages that things need to be focused on to re-educate individuals about getting out there and being counted, and that their vote counts whenever voting comes? Because if there was 79,000, 30 and down. See,
I would go a little higher than just 30, because there are some individuals that are my age, and I just turned 40 this year. I'm an 80s baby to my heart. And it's a lot of us that, one, don't know, two, don't care to know, three, don't feel like it has ever done anything for us because we've seen what it hadn't did in the past. So I mean, the demographics of those that have that mindset or that have that block, you know what I'm saying? It varies. Because different strokes for different folks. Some people may have filled out the census properly, and some may have filled out the census with, ill intent. Who knows?
Well, I kind of put it like this. It's work for us. You just had to be at a certain level to appreciate what it was working. And so what's happening in this whole thing in America is, if you was living good, you really didn't give a damn about the folk who was doing, because you either say them niggas doing that, or however you express that was them folk. And now we all seeing our level of livelihood kind of coming down.
In a lot of ways.
Now you got this interest, because whether it's the police treating you like you from the hood, or you running from the hood. I mean, hey, I keep saying, we keep running to them woods, and ain't nothing ever happened good for us in the woods. It never has, but we'll go to all these little lakes and woods and live, and now we out here complaining. And we got communities that we abandoned.
Right. I totally agree. I mean, and just think about, I mean, like, especially for like individuals of my age group, again, like, we had the stigma, especially like when I was in middle school going to Crockett, we had the stigma, if you live on the west side of the city, you made it. Once you get on the other side of Interstate 10 or the other side of 69, you somebody.
The west side is becoming the south side now.
To differ. I bet
and to hear you,
close-knit neighborhood.
Well,
I forgive you, Mr. Terry.
I'm telling you, the West is becoming the
Y'all
South.
will never be the South Side.
No,
Y'all will
not
never
in
be
that kind of
South
way.
End,
It's just that
Texas. Oh, okay,
everything
okay. I'll let you make
everything is
it.
being built. Everything is being built away
Hey,
from the South and the North.
Of course, of
Everything has
course.
been built
all right.
to the West
Yeah.
because it's something in the South and the North that they want,
Yes, sir. I agree.
and we all know what it is.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
we
Yes,
know.
sir. I mean,
It's a, I had somebody say
Mayor
that's not
Ames
true, and they
said
don't
it
know nothing about it, but
one
they
day
know.
in council.
Wait a
Mayor
minute. Wait a
Ames
minute.
said it one day in council, y'all. She said we have been looking. I was about to say this the round table, man.
Go ahead.
She
Okay.
said it.
Go ahead.
And she said at council that the city of Beaumont has been looking to get to the river back to the river for a
Oh,
long
yeah.
time.
Oh,
So I mean, that's always been the agenda.
yeah.
It went over people's
Well,
What's your
they
heads.
question,
cut
Mr.
off the
Tony?
river though.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they cut off the river though a lot with the plants. You know what I'm saying? Like
Well,
all they
yeah, on my
narrowed
side,
themselves. Yeah, they narrowed themselves to the north end, deep to the north
exactly.
end, right by the
Yes,
country club,
right.
or
And
they
James,
narrowed it all the way to downtown area.
right, right. Think about
Hey,
it,
what's
James.
going on,
What's
Landon?
going on, Landon? What's up, brother?
Hey, man.
Think
So
about
we
it,
just we
James.
just we
That
just sit here
area. I'm sorry,
talking.
Tony.
Yeah, we just sitting here talking. Come
Y'all
on
know
That
how
now.
many?
area, James, has been rezoned. It's no
Right.
longer, just residential. I don't even think it's residential anymore. It's
You're talking about
multi-dwelling,
the south
light
end.
industrial, and commercial. Nope, I'm
You
talking
mean the
about the
south
north
end
end.
area?
There's certain
Okay. Okay.
areas. Nope, the north end. That, like, especially like closer to Lucas, closer to Pine.
Right.
That area
Right.
has been rezoned for multi-dwelling, light industrial, commercial. So if you have a house in
Okay.
that area, you have to get a specific use permit in order to go back
Right.
residential.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And
Well,
a lot of people when that happened didn't understand what was going on.
It's like how many?
But
How
but
Wow.
many?
I
like
mean,
I
and
said, it's been an undertone that we've been trying to get back to the river for a long time, which thus, we saw the back and forth with the we gonna purchase or we not gonna purchase, we gonna undermine somebody, we not gonna undermine somebody for the purchase of the AT&T building. Sit and watch. It plays itself
right.
out. People telling themselves here.
Like
And if you're not paying
how
close
many apartments?
attention,
How many apartments do y'all think been built out toward the west within the last year? Apartment units,
5.
at least 5 to 8,000,
Yeah.
and why?
We
Why?
tell us. James, tell us why. You have any answers on that?
No, not offhand. Besides, the only location, the only thing that I can see for Northwest Parkway, if that's what some of that area right now is booming with mainly apartments,
Right.
that's
Mm-hmm.
going to be the only, you know, thing that's going to be able to support any kind of shopping in this area because you got to bring somebody in here because everybody's trying to leave. So if you have some kind of housing and it looks like it's fresh and brand new, then people are having to pay, $12, $13, $1,500 when they could be buying a house for the same thing. A friend of mine is trying to get her credit right now to try and buy a house for the same that she's paying or less, actually probably about $900 compared to what she's going to have to pay, I think, $1,300 to $1,500 a month for a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom. That's the only thing that technically is going to support Beaumont is all these different, apartments off here. I'm by the mall right now. That's going to be able to support the shopping and stuff right now. It's taxes. It's definitely taxes because we heard that there was a big old boost or raise in people's taxes lately. I mean, people were saying $10,000 to $30,000 property values being raised on their houses whenever there has been no improvement to their homes at all.
No, I was about
Yeah,
to say,
I
where
have
are the improvements?
right,
what?
exactly. I mean that
Yep.
none to the district. There hasn't been enough to the district. There hasn't been
Right.
enough to the actual infrastructure to city So how
Right.
could there be anything? There's not enough even to the county. Like, where
I was
is
about to say,
the
even the
big
county, look at them, they're getting ready to
yeah,
sell the Ford Park.
hell to the state? I mean, to the whole, all the way up. So it's like,
Yeah, brother.
grab the money and spend it on whatever instead of holding on to it and using it for things we actually need. Like we heard lately on Beaumont, Texas Information Station that there's no possible way to replace all the water lines in Beaumont. Well, of course not if you're not going to start. Like, you
Right.
got to start
Especially if you don't
somewhere.
have
I
a
used
plan to start.
Right.
right, or too scared to do it, and too busy.
Yeah.
You're too busy holding on to the paycheck every year, which you get, which is way more than hell. Pretty much everybody I know, but you're not making the smart calls to go ahead and do what needs to be done to better Beaumont. So we're living in a pothole in the middle of the road, and we're steadily getting tires in on us, and just making the hole bigger. It's not going to get fixed. Nothing around here is going to get fixed because a lot of times our council is too scared to commit to something or too scared to be
They don't
bossy
plan
enough
on it.
to go ahead and
No,
get.
no, your
Yeah,
counsel is too old to do anything aggressive.
Yep.
right.
Too stagnant.
Plain and
100%.
simple. It,
Yes.
Yeah.
you
I
know,
totally
That,
I
agree.
mean, you get in your 50s and 60s, man, you're not trying to do anything. You're trying to retire.
no. Right. You trying to just ride that buck. You ain't
Right.
trying to cause
And
no
so
waves.
how can
Why
you lead
cause
a
any?
city? How can you
Right.
lead a city when you're trying to retire?
Right. See, thing is if we don't start investing in this city, it's not the elderly right now that are going to die off. And that's the ones that are mainly voting, though, right now. And they're continuing to vote in the same incumbents all the time that are not changing anything. So as those
Right.
elderly die off, but they're the voting power right now because the youth are not doing what they should be doing, right? Then we're stuck with the policies of the incumbents, but yet we have the majority because right now, really, the majority is probably 50 and younger and not above, but the above 50 and above is the ones that are the ones that are voting. So the
I agree.
50 and under, or even less, even 45 and under, uh, we have the majority, but yet we're not putting in the time and the effort to go ahead and make the people or put people into the seats to go ahead and change what needs to be changed for our future. So we're
Well,
allowing the elderly that recognize names to run us for
Yes.
another 2, another 4,
yeah.
another 6, another 8, because we're not pushing up the majority that we have. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian population, doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't matter, but then again, it also does matter with the white vote is out there. Y'all already know that.
Yeah.
We need to get
Well,
back in
it
black neighborhoods and boost the younger votes.
yeah. Well, here's an honest truth I've had to learn is that nothing changes until people get uncomfortable.
Right.
Right, right,
So either they got to get uncomfortable hearing you,
right,
Yes.
which is why I appreciate Terry. I mean,
Yeah.
you
right,
just got to get uncomfortable somewhere. Either
Yeah.
I'm gonna take this shit,
Or we
Yeah.
or I'm gonna
not.
do
yeah,
it. Right.
We
I
yeah,
we
mean,
yeah,
so
we the reason.
and I've had to learn that. I look back, my parents had to put up and they had to do a lot.
Yeah, we the reason that
right,
Beaumont like it is, just the citizens,
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
sit back and we take
yeah,
it. I just don't take it.
yeah,
I'm not gonna take it,
right,
Yeah.
regardless.
right.
And you
Yeah.
got to not be
Ain't no
afraid
need.
to say what you feel, because you
Yeah.
paying
Right. I
taxes.
mean,
Regardless to who it's to. Right. I totally agree.
right.
Yeah,
And
everybody
Yeah.
and
sit
it's
around on
not.
their hands.
Yeah, everybody thinks that it's always out because you got so much negativity. Oh, you're negative. You don't want. No, I'm real. I want to say what's really going on. You want to avoid it because you don't want the target. But deal is you
Right.
got to have a target to make change.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just going to happen, especially when there's been nothing going on positive for so long. What a beautification program. That's all they've been doing, popping trees and big old
Bro.
pots and flowers. the hell they got going on? If your arteries, if you're big and beautiful, but your heart is failing, that's your sewer system, your water system, everything else. How are you gonna survive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
start with
Yeah.
underneath the ground and build up. You
Yeah.
can't start from the above ground and build down. That's stupid. Then you're ripping up everything above ground just to fix what you
Yeah.
got down below.
Right.
Let's
I'd
start
like
getting
Yeah.
to.
into a aggressive program to start pushing water lines like they did the sewer lines. So we pushed sewer lines, but yet we didn't push water lines. Like, oh, we can't never replace all the water lines. Well, hell, we just now started replacing the sewer lines. So what's the difference?
Hmm.
Same thing,
And
right?
then and then
Water
and then
lines.
with replacing the sewer lines, me personally, I don't think you're doing it right. Pipe
Well, all
busting.
right.
No,
Well, let me ask.
no,
Let me
they're
ask you
not
this.
doing. They're not.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think they're deliberately pushing people out?
Me
I,
personally,
In
yeah, I
some
do.
areas, it would
I
seem
do.
like they are
in the
doing
Yeah, I
that.
would
north and
say
south
that.
Yeah,
end, they
in
are.
I
in
would say
some
that.
areas, right. It almost seems like they're trying to make it where more people leave out, where bigger corporations or bigger entities or apartment complexes can come in and buy the whole lot, and they can collect more taxes
Yeah.
on a big structure that houses thousands of people compared to one structure that houses what, 10 people in a house or something. Why not? Why
Yeah.
not bring in a huge commercial, commercial business, basically, a corporation that will bring in tax dollars
But do
like it ain't
you
nothing but.
think? But do you think people in Beaumont will live like that?
I
Hmm.
I think
shit,
if
they
there's
have.
apartment
I mean,
complexes, somebody's going,
they've
yeah,
been
yeah,
allowing, man, they've been allowing the same oppression, depression,
Yeah.
right,
and I mean, like shit that we've subjugated to now. I mean, like, why not? They've been going along with it
right,
so far. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's gonna make them really say, oh, it's this is gonna be the reason that I change my my involvement into what goes on in this in the city, my involvement what goes on in the county, my involvement where the funding goes. I didn't say where it come from, I said where it goes. We're not even
Yeah.
questioning where our money goes.
right,
That's
Yeah.
complacency at oh, it's ridiculous and it's redundancy that I don't
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to how we are governed. This is how we are as individuals, as
Yeah.
humans are governed.
right.
Yeah. I
How,
think
Mhm.
Beaumont.
how did,
I think
go ahead.
Beaumont's gonna continue to fall until everybody
Right,
decides that they want to rise up. And
right.
until you rise
Have
up,
y'all
you're not gonna never get nothing done. So
But who
y'all
would that be
noticed
though,
in
that
Mr.
would
your
be
G?
area?
us.
Who's that going?
Right,
No, majority of us are leaving. When I mean, like majority of us are
right,
leaving. The moment we get the opportunity to leave Beaumont, we take that opportunity. It's more
right,
profitable for me to buy a home in Liberty than it is for me to buy a home in Beaumont. It's buy a home in Cheek and
right,
China and Nome than it is for me to purchase here in Beaumont,
right,
Texas.
Hmm.
right. Or build even. You can't build out here
Right.
Yeah.
without. You still got also windstorm and stuff like that down here. You're not getting up in Lumberton, and it stops at Orange too. So I mean, hell, we're in this little area that's a little. I mean, it's ruining with what they got. Uh, by
Man.
by by reported statistics. Now I'm gonna change up real quick to crime. Speaking about statistics, I keep on hearing, and it's been plaguing my mind the last couple of days because I keep on hearing folks say that, oh well, Beaumont's not high on crime. We just report it different. Now, how in the hell does that make any sense? Why would we, out of the whole state,
Hmm.
be reporting it differently, and why can't we change and stop reporting it that differently so we don't look like the third worst city in the U.S.? I mean,
The,
at one point in time, we were the third worst city. Like, how in the hell per
Yeah.
capita? So you mean all we got to do is stop reporting it a certain way that other people are not doing? Who in the hell thinks
well, I
these
mean,
things
what a
up
lot of people
to
don't
report
realize,
things?
what a lot of people don't realize about Beaumont, exactly. What a lot of people don't realize about Beaumont
It,
is per capita, we out. Beaumont is more black per capita than Houston. So
Right.
when somebody statistically say, oh, per capita, this is who it
Right.
is, this is how the crime, they're literally talking about the per capita. They're actually talking about the populace
Right.
of the city. And the black people in this city is the
Right.
populace of the city. And the more that they
Okay.
report the crime on the populace of this city, the more that people are going to turn and be like, well, dang, what is really going on in Beaumont? And them reporting it differently is the same
Right.
reason that we have residents that live in the on infield and all those other places out in the West End, believing that there is no crime and believing that there's nothing happen
Right.
here and this is a great neighborhood and we have
Right.
great parks
Right.
and the whole time when you go to
Right.
work, somebody that broke in your shit and you didn't even know it. Your neighbor didn't even know it. All y'all got hit at the same time. But they're not reporting that crime statistically so that you can see when you move to Beaumont or again perpetuate the same cycle that I had to grow up in and believing that when I make it to the West End, I made it.
You know, I had a show the other night, or a couple of weeks ago, or maybe last week, and we talked about gentrification. And I saw a comment of yours, Terry, and you talked about, and I'm not trying to get off the subject, but we're still talking about COB, the city of Beaumont, Texas.
Oh yeah.
And and we're talking about infrastructure,
Indeed.
and we all know infrastructure here is ain't worth a damn. Okay, and we
Right.
got brown water, blue water, green water. It don't matter what kind of water we have. We got all types of
Right.
water, and that's the only
Yeah.
thing that's the only
Right.
thing that's much diverse here. That's water, and that's come from the sewer. And a lot of you guys know about infrastructure. I don't know nothing about it. If you're not talking about business and finance, I don't know what you're talking about. But what I'm saying is that I am very, very interested in gentrification. How can I saw on the comment you made last week, Terry, about
Mhm.
uh, gentrification is in Beaumont.
Yeah,
It's in the North End. And I don't see it. I don't know where it is.
it's there. It's there because when you see everything moving out west, because a lot of these apartments out here are not. Some of them are low income apartments. All of them are not 12, $1,300. It's low, and that's why they're trying to stop them from coming this way. The west people from the west start, but they're being bought
Uh huh.
over in the north and the south. End. What do you see growing over there in the north and the south?
What gentrification is mostly when you're going back to the neighborhood and rebuild it.
But nobody's doing that. Not nobody like us.
Now, first they got to move you out first.
Yeah, they got to move you out, and that's what they're doing. And they got to find somewhere for you to go. So
So
what are they going to pick? They're moving you to the west.
they move you to the west. So
Yeah.
that's why everybody's coming to the west.
How many? Look at the new
Yep.
apartments being built out here.
That's quite a few.
Drive through the
Quite a
west,
few.
Yeah.
There's quite a
and then
few.
go
Yeah.
drive through the south and the north end and see how many is being built.
So well,
With
I'm waiting on for the gentrification now.
Yeah,
Where is it? I mean, I
it
want to see.
might be gentrification, but it's not going to be us that's part of it because once
hey,
they move stuff to the south and the north, it's going to be too expensive for people.
look at Detroit as in what they're doing to homes, right?
Right,
So they come through, red tag, rip down the homes, correct?
right, right.
Why is that the automatic policy for the city of Beaumont to come through and red tag homes and rip them down and leave empty lots? So we now got empty lots everywhere that have been empty lots for like 10, 20 years. And then out of town people are holding on to those same lots.
For a reason.
Right, right.
like
Because
Mr. Terry said, gentrification is definitely in the North End. My
yeah,
camera or whatnot messed up. My internet connection got bad, but
right.
he was definitely correct. He was definitely correct. Again, like I said, the zoning. I mean, even if that house wasn't red tag, Terry,
Mhm.
Mr. Tony, Mr. Perry, guys, like the thing that we have to understand is the zoning of that property. If it's torn down, it's no longer considered residential. So of course I'ma tag it. I know for sure if it's tagged in particular areas, you'll never be able to come out of the red tag. You could get the 30-day extension, you can get the 60-day extension, you could get the 90-day extension, but you will never repair that home to a state of city satisfaction.
Right. They want you to replumb it and do all new electrical in it.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Well,
So
I mean, no. I mean, that's part of it. I'll give you a perfect example because I lived it. I lived in Third Ward from 95 to maybe 2012. And if you knew Third Ward then you knew Third Ward had gone through that first stage of gentrification that you see. And so people were leaving. And even the home we had was the home that my father-in-law grew up in. And this home was in the 40s. And so what you found out was essentially kind of things that we went through was parents didn't leave goodwill. That stuff got left up in probate. You know how Negroes get when you get with money. And so all of that ends up getting it takes time, but you look up and it's just dwindled through everybody's hand because nobody could come together about who's going to take it, who's going to take care of the property. And so everybody lost it. Or everybody got a few little dollars.
Right.
And now you go to Third Ward. And now they trying to call that shit Midtown.
It is Midtown.
You know, I mean, because it's got Midtown prices.
Right.
You know, and so that's because we end up taking less value of our own.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
How can you say that you can't you don't even, you know, how can we just let Irvin go when Irvin was like the strip?
That's what I heard.
Yep,
How can you let Washington Boulevard go when Washington and 4th was the strip?
Gladys was the strip. Forsyth
Gladys was the strip. I mean, and we let them all go.
Yeah.
Downtown even too.
They gone. They ain't all go. They gone.
Yeah.
So it ain't. So why were we running to the West End? Were we embarrassed over Irvin and Gladys and Washington? Because if you're embarrassed, then people can take shit from you if you don't like it.
And now that they didn't take it, they're gonna send you to the West now. Since you want to be here so bad, we're gonna send you over there. But we're gonna take the most valuable part of Beaumont.
And you don't have good homes over there.
Exactly.
A relative of mine we were talking the other day. Hey, check this out. A relative of mine was talking the other day. We were talking about the how the climate change has changed. And I want you, and Unc, I know you're going to really relate to what I'm about to say here. I was raised in both sides of town, Pare Orchard and South End, but most of the time I was in the South End. But right now in 2020, think about it, real good. We've had how many storms, how many hurricanes, how many tropical storms have come through here in the last 15 years? Quite a few.
Quite a few.
Have you ever noticed that it can flood all over Beaumont, but it will never flood in the South End?
How y'all doing? Well, I will say
the only thing that floods in the South End is
Urban.
Urban Street underpass. And that's the holding part.
That's our buffer. I think that's the reason our homes aren't flooding in this area, because we have those underpasses, or that underpass for sure around us. But get this, y'all. That underpass floods not only when it's raining very heavy, but when it's raining very heavy only on the West Washington side. Get that? I'm gonna say it again. That underpass floods when we're getting heavy rain in the city. Now, I don't know if y'all been on like one side of the city and it's pouring down and come back to the other side of the city and it's bone dry.
Right.
Well, I've seen that on several occasions where we have a pond or a little fish pond growing underneath our underpass. And to mind you,
Right.
the streets are dry.
Right.
The overpass is dry. The
Right.
railroad tracks are dry. But we have
Right.
water that comes out of the storm drain onto the
Fills
street
up.
in the
Yeah.
underpass. So the
Yeah.
underpass don't just fills from the top down, it fills from the ground up.
Right.
Same goes for the renovated Madison Street that floods from the storm drains onto the street. These are
I.
things we're seeing, and this is of late. So I don't know
Right.
whether to blame it on climate change, Mr. Tony,
Mm,
or blame it on faulty engineering.
and faulty engineering.
Yeah,
100%. Somebody
100%.
didn't. I see water constantly coming back up our sewers now whenever there's light rain. Like somebody seems like they tied in the storm drains directly to the sewer.
Oh no,
Hmm.
no. Get this, James.
Huh?
Allegedly, we don't have, according to our city manager, we don't have infrastructure issues, sir. So you
Oh
lying.
no, I lied. Hey, I was just thinking that just now, and I do got to go to church
Oh, it's
and,
about
and
to get
repent for
good.
Yeah,
that
you gotta
because
repent for that lie,
It's
cause
about to get
because
good
because
now.
I'm
the
not,
city manager said we
and,
don't have any issues. Whereas I
and I
know for sure that our storm drain has breached into our sewer,
Oh
and
right,
man,
our sewer has
100%.
breached into our storm
I'm
drain.
a living
I
witness
know
Right,
to
for
that.
right,
sure
right.
that we have
I,
issues where some neighborhoods don't even have a full water line. I
right,
know it for sure.
right.
So you have all of those things that, like you said, bubbling on top of the street, mixing with the rain, and then
Right,
settling into the same soil. Man,
right,
I
right.
smell class action. If not, man, y'all better.
No,
I'm gonna say that
no,
too
but
loud now.
the TCEQ will not do a thing to the city of Beaumont,
Oh
Oh,
no,
because
no,
regardless.
especially the
No,
regional office. I mean, like we said this
no,
maybe 2 months ago, like when we
yeah.
first started the round table. You cannot depend on the regional office of TCEQ to do
You,
anything here in the
you,
city of Beaumont.
But
you.
how do we get people in there?
how do we do what?
That
Austin,
that's the only way. Yeah,
How do we change the people in there?
Austin,
bring in outside groups, environmental groups, and
they don't.
backlog and find out how
TCEQ don't
long
want
this been
them.
going on.
TCEQ
No,
don't want them. And
no.
the reason I know it is because we did a study. We did a health study in this
Uh,
area. We did an
uh,
ambient air quality study in this area. We
right.
did just a walkthrough of the area to find environmental things that are
But
going
but
on and wrong with the environment.
but I'm
Right.
saying I guess I'm saying who need to lose job and who needs to lose elections.
They
Your
need to close.
governor,
Well. The thing is, you got to get the voting power in there, and then as soon as you get 4 people in that will actually do for the people and not do for themselves, then you can vote out anybody in there with them 4. You got to have that 4, and if we can't get the vote out there to go do something about it, we're going to be stuck with this until hell. I'm 42. We're going to be stuck like this until I'm 65 before
We got to
any
make
real
that
change.
our mission, though. Well,
I
I mean,
totally
it
agree.
won't get done unless we make it a mission.
I totally
Well,
agree.
and
And one of the
I
things that we've been doing is trying to, at least educate and get people on the same platform when it comes to understanding environmental
right,
Yeah,
terminology.
right,
Because
yeah.
they'll talk over your head quick, especially TCEQ.
right,
We had a mandatory meeting that was mandated to have in this neighborhood by the EPA.
right.
TCEQ tried to go around this neighborhood, which held the lawsuit against TCEQ, and go into South Park area to talk about the things that we brought up the lawsuit for here. The
Yeah,
second
man.
meeting, they
Yeah.
brought it to the Family Resource Center. But the thing about it was, gentlemen, is that the entire time they're using terminology that we know everybody in the room was sitting with question marks.
Right,
Like,
right,
what are you talking
right,
about?
right. You got
Yeah.
to keep it simple, and it ain't because
Yeah.
people are
Exactly.
stupid. It's just because
That's
there's
not
better
our
words to
level.
use Yeah, there's better words.
Yeah.
Not
Exactly.
everybody got rocket science degrees.
Yeah.
So why
Yeah.
speak to everybody on that level? If you can't speak to
Yes.
everybody on a
Yeah.
normal level where everybody
Right.
understands you, you're trying to mislead them and say
Yeah.
everything's fucking grandeur, but it's not. It's all
I totally
horrible,
agree.
and they're trying to
Yeah.
cover it up.
I agree.
Well,
And the
well,
thing about it,
and
go
here's
ahead,
and
Mr.
here,
Perry.
yeah. But here's what I'm saying about that distribution of vote. We've got to know what specific races affect the outcomes of the composition of that TCEQ,
Yes, sir.
i.e., whether it's
State
representative,
rep. Yes, sir.
what,
District rep.
local utility district, whatever
Yes,
that
sir.
is. Because I guarantee you, fellas, the people that are in those positions are in there by slim margins, and the slim
Right,
margins are there because we didn't concentrate on those particular races.
Yes, sir.
right.
Yep.
See, deal is though.
And even and we got to be honest, even if it's some folk who look
Look
like
like
us,
us. Yeah,
I'm
dog.
sorry if they ain't doing shit for us. We got to get them out,
Yes,
guys. We
sir.
can't be saying that they good because I went
I
to,
know him.
you
Went to
know,
school
you
with
out of
them.
class of
Right,
'73 with me and all of that, man.
right.
It doesn't matter.
Uh, Alumni.
It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. It
Which
really
then to
does.
me, Mr. Perry,
No,
that should make a stronger,
it's like
you
this
know,
though. In these
standard for that
apartment
individual.
complexes as well, there's so much voting power right there in one condensed area. If there was enough individuals that could get past all the BS that's pushed in social media about being cool and whatnot, and that's an old school term. Don't mind me, I'm not that old though. So
I'm old
so
school.
it right. So if we can get past, you know, youngsters basically not getting out there and voting where we do basically get them on the right level, that's the push. I'm talking about all the way up to state, all the way up to, federal, all the way down,
Exactly.
to city,
Right.
because that's the push that they don't care because they don't think it affects them, but hell, every single thing that policy falls down on them more than anything, because a lot of cats that are renting and don't technically own nothing have no feeling of worth and value in what's around them because they're just renting. They're just giving away everything they have anyway, and
Yeah.
they're stuck in the now. I'm going to go buy my shoes. I'm going to buy my car. And buy, So there's no full time investing. And going back on property to say that individuals are too money hungry and they want to sell out and grab this and grab the dollar and this and that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah. Well, here's
second
this.
home.
Well, I tell you this, and I know we know all the problems, but we got to inspire them.
Yes.
Right,
Cultivate them.
People don't.
right,
It's just not gonna happen. We
Right.
all here because people inspired us,
I totally agree.
right. Well, I'll
and let's not underestimate what we could do. If don't
right,
nobody else do this shit, then why don't we get
right,
together? Why don't we say, okay, a weekend? Here's
right.
what we're gonna do. We're gonna be brothers and get together. I
Right.
was there. I remember when Minister Farrakhan announced in Houston the Million Man March in the early beginnings, and man, it sounded as if that it was like, man, no, I don't know if Farrakhan gonna do that,
Yeah.
but I
Right.
seen it happen.
Right.
And so if we say, okay, then let us get together, then let's inspire some other brothers to do
Yeah.
this.
I
Right.
totally
Yep.
agree.
Well,
Yep.
it,
Cultivate some new
Right.
people. I'm
I
and I mentioned this to a few people before, especially when they asked me if I was going to run. I told them right now what I want to focus on, because I've ran for 10 years solid, and some of the things that I ran on, some of the items that needed addressing immediately were the agenda of city manager and mayor and council.
right,
I mean, and I
right,
appreciate that. But what I don't appreciate is how you pulled it apart to make it anyway. But like
Right.
certain individuals, we have to cultivate them at a very early age. So like what
Right.
I'm doing, what I'll be doing shortly is like, pushing our middle school, 7th, 8th grade students, getting them in the know of local politics, getting them in the
Right.
know of
I
state
was just about
politics,
to say.
county politics, letting them know it's not it's policy over politics and people,
Right.
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 especially a candidate.
Right.
That candidate does not necessarily have the policies that they are going to push. Yeah, they may have a
Mhm.
nice
Right.
agenda that sounds
Right.
illustrious to you and it may glitter and gleam, but
Right.
in the end, if we, one, as whoever having issues, haven't addressed these issues in a plan to this candidate, none of it's going to be
Right.
addressed. If
You
we
right.
haven't rented, leased, or bought a candidate in today's politics, notice I said in today's politics. If
Right.
you haven't bought, rented, or leased a candidate, you're not getting anything you need, and that's hand
Right.
downs, period.
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
And
Right.
I happen to believe that that's the wrong paradigm.
It is.
It's like going to the Kentucky Derby and putting your money on somebody else's horse. Man, for me,
Right.
I want my own damn horse in the race.
Right.
Yep, you got to learn. You got to
Cause
do it on
you
your
looking
own.
at the Derby from a whole different
Yeah.
perspective
Yes.
when you
Yes,
got a
sir.
horse
Right.
in the race.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's
And
that. And
until we get out of trying to pick a horse and decide we gonna put some horses in,
Right.
then we're gonna always come back to this.
I
Yep.
totally agree.
Back and back.
I
Yep.
totally agree.
Hmm.
I
What I
totally
was
agree.
thinking, what I was thinking with that, I got a property up in the north end. It's about an acre size, and that's where, like Chris was saying, that we need to invest in 7th, 8th graders, like around that age. I want to draw it back even to younger ages, as in getting parents back involved with the kids, where doing programs, even if it's not involving the city at all,
Yeah.
and but it's reinvesting in the youth all the way down to toddlers. Because deal is in my area, in that area right there, the north end, up in Lucas, uh, I would like to do like work programs showing kids how to build things, this and that. I mean, I do all
Mhm.
that anyway, so I have the skills, the tools, and whatnot. And I would love to invest to have kids learn a skill. We're not putting trades back in to the
Right.
youth. We're losing that. My brother went to vocational school. I don't know what they got nowadays besides the Taylor Career Center, but
LIT
he
is
had
one of
something.
them.
LIT. Well, yeah. I mean, like high school wise, I don't know.
Yeah,
Does
from what I
LIT?
gathered, they're supposed to be addressing some students outside of the what is it called? Um um Old Austin.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Early
I know what you're talking about.
college. Yeah, early college.
Right. But my thing is I would have loved, because I was that type of kid. I would have loved anything at a younger age, like 8 years old. I was the one that would build, clubhouses and take apart radios and put them back together. Get into, you know, Chinese do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Japanese do that. They start kids learning trades at a young age. We're missing that because we're
Yeah.
also wrapping ourselves into today's culture instead of today's, like you say, knowledge is power. So if you
Right.
don't have some kind of release of your dreams, and instead you're incorporating other people's dreams and wants into your vision, you're losing your vision slowly. You're losing the sight of what you want to do, and you're ended up, in jail. You end
Yeah.
up, running with the wrong people, this and that, because you think that that's what you were made for. I was made, I believe I was made by God to work on homes. Like, that's my best out of everything. I don't do computers compared to I can build a home from ground up. I can pour cement, frame it, and I can do plumbing and electrical and everything all the way to the roof line. I can lay shingles. This is what I'm great at. So I
Mhm.
can build. That is my thing. Some people are good at computers, some good at art. You know, I think each individual is perfect at something, but we're slowly losing our youth behind, incorporated, not our own export, but our imports of other people's dreams. If we can get out of that and start teaching these skills and promoting what somebody already has inside of them, man, we could have a whole lot of, people in Beaumont that got skills, and we could eventually, just like some cities, you got Silicon Valley, that's where all the computer geeks are. Well, we got areas that we can go ahead and invest in. We can have the best process operators because we got the plants here. We could
Yeah.
have LIT, we could have Lamar straight processing everybody out of Beaumont that goes all over the world. But instead, we're not doing nothing with the youth here. And it starts at our city, it starts at our county levels, but it also starts with us. The
Right.
elders, the elders
Yeah.
of the community, basically.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
totally
It
agree.
starts with our community. I couldn't agree with you more. I have the chance sometimes to go to schools. And I remember when I was in Houston, going to a middle school and asking some kids about what did they want to become. And
Right.
it really dawned on me, we had kids who didn't have an idea what they wanted to become because
They
they
never
didn't
been
see those
exposed.
professions around
Right.
them.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
Right. They didn't. Yeah, they didn't
And
see nothing to look to.
and man, it was a shock. And so you have to start asking, really, you know, how far are we removed from our community?
Right.
Because there are some parts of our community that are really struggling.
Yep.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
But
I
Speaking about
totally
that.
agree.
you say that, and I'm gonna let you continue that, but not just blacks, your poor whites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I mean, I didn't grow up in the best of situations, and I came from a good. My mom was a teacher. My dad worked on the railroad. Divorced family, but it still wasn't the best. Teachers are underpaid. The knowledge is there, and that's where we get it from. But yet we don't pay them enough. So all their kids are sitting there struggling. It's a great profession to go into, to and an honorable profession. But a lot of teachers' kids, a lot of kids struggle. A lot of teachers' kids
Hmm.
struggle at home, and it's
Hmm.
not eating well, it's not dressing well, it's because their parents do have a passion that they want to take care of kids, but then again, their own kids sometimes
Get
are brought up
neglected.
with nothing. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
and it's hard, man. It was a hard life.
Hmm.
Trust me, it wasn't the worst because I knew buddies of mine that, I mean, their parents, I mean, was had or dad had money, from like drugs, whatever else, but still they still they still didn't have much. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it
Right.
just depends on where the money's coming from, and depends on who's distributing it out from that point. But yeah, it was a rough life. Yeah, like I said, not horrible, but it was a rough one.
well, speaking of rough life, even though you grew up in a middle class, and as a white, uh, but we grew up, and that's a difference.
Right,
In the middle class, black African American.
right,
Hmm.
Okay,
right.
but that was a difference. When you guys, other guys, can
Am I
agree.
missing something?
Yeah, that was that was a different. That was a two. That was two different type of middle class.
Right, right.
And we going out with it today, and today we're still that's still a big gap. That's a
Hmm.
big, huge gap in wealth between the middle class and the upper tier class. But what I'm saying is that we had to go through so much by being black,
Yeah,
and we still survived.
right.
Uncle, you looking at me like I said something crazy.
Man,
Now,
man. No,
but but is it?
it's not
Let me.
that. It's not that at all, Mr.
Let,
Tony. I'm yeah.
oh, can I
Go ahead,
interrupt real quick?
go. Hey,
Is it? Do you think though? I mean, I know it's so. It was because of your parents, though. Not as in that's the reason why they were a certain level of middle class. But I'm saying y'all still survived because your parents. nowadays, don't you believe that parents nowadays are not the same?
No.
Parents nowadays are more invested in themselves instead of family. You know, it used to be provide. We used to be hunters gatherers. You know,
I
now
mean,
we're
but most of them feel like they are providing, especially when they work in two jobs. It's hard
right,
to provide. It's hard to provide personally when I'm trying to provide not just for you, but for me, the lights, gas, water,
right,
transportation, different
Well,
right.
things like that.
yeah,
Well, do
I think there was also a change in value systems.
Yes,
right.
sir.
Well,
Now
that's
I
why I
will
say
say
Yeah,
that. I will
yeah,
say
right.
yeah,
that.
Well,
yeah,
that's what I
Yeah,
mean is when it went from when it went from a middle class family needed a house and a car to now a middle class family needs a house, car, the newest J's, the newest iPhone, the newest big screen TV. You know, it's the values where it's hard to survive. Not all the time. Not speaking on everybody, but it's hard to survive for the most part of because your values change on what's important. As in, my thing is I've struggled for 11 years now wanting to build my business. My dreams are like daydreams where I see them vivid right now. I can just see them in front of me. When people lose that concept and then like I said they fall into the what's important and really what's not important, but they follow what's really not important instead of what's really important, then they get stuck in that revolving door of being stuck on paying rent somewhere instead of owning a house. And it's the
yeah,
same cost though. It's the
yeah.
same cost, but like my homegirl, she's trying to build her credit because she's tired of paying rent. She's been paying it for 10 years now, $1,300 a month for 10 years. You
the
man,
whole
that's a
house.
For the
Yeah.
whole
Could have had a
house.
mortgage
right,
A nice
right,
one too.
right,
and a little left over.
Yeah.
right. For
Yeah.
a brand new car
That's
every
not making
5
any
years.
sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
I
so
mean, and like I said, I mean, I think it's all a matter of perspective because at the end of the day, when you talk about the people who matter most or who are the most iconic people, most of the people you remember, not even millionaires or billionaires.
right,
Dr. King got Dr. King, struggled.
right,
Let's not get it twisted. I mean, he
right,
couldn't when it came time for him to go get the Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, folk had to pull together to help.
Bring his money. Yeah.
right,
And so I think we have to always value that because we've allowed sort of our icons to have this to perpetuate that it's this wealth thing, and wealth is good. Don't get me
right,
wrong,
right,
you know, but I think in some ways we made it so much about the
right,
material things,
right.
you
I
know,
would rather
that we end up with somebody like a Trump. I mean, Trump is not a mistake.
Yeah. It
I
was
I would
planned.
I would rather I would rather own something than have a whole lot of wealth.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
rather have something paid off and own it than
yeah.
have a whole bunch of wealth that I'm still paying notes everywhere. You know? I
Yep.
think
Yeah.
that people are getting it confused on having the latest, the newest, and this and that when you don't own nothing. And that also pertains to what is it like West Chase or something like that in Lumberton. You know, it's
Yeah.
new cars, working at the plant with a new car for the wife, a house, a mortgage on the house, everything in there. You know, people do not value or they don't have their mind on the right things.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
the new things that count compared to you can lose all that tomorrow. We
yeah.
see that right
No.
now with COVID. They shut down so many plant jobs. So those same people that were living high on a horse, now they're like, man, why did I do this? Now my car has to go back. Now there's Ford gap protection. You can buy a vehicle and not pay, for the next 6 months. Like, for what? Like, go buy you a used car, get back and forth to work, and make your money. As long as you
Yeah.
got AC for this heat down here, you good.
Tony
Yeah.
You
got
know,
a car for you.
No, no, but you said it
right?
earlier. You said it earlier when you were in terms of we were talking about our communities. I mean, think about it. I go back to Third Ward, go back to DC. All of
Right.
those were black communities, and now you see that they've been revitalized to the point that blacks are no longer in there. And
Yeah,
so, and in
yeah,
every case, it became this point to where black folk thought where they were what they undervalued and underestimated.
And that's what's happening
And
here.
so they lured them with the prospect of
right,
running off to somewhere else,
Yep,
right.
that's what's
only
happening
to
in
leave
Beaumont.
the prized possession. And I mean, and
Yep,
it's crazy. You look at Houston, Third Ward and Fifth Ward, they right there next to downtown, the power center.
Right.
yep,
Right.
They got rid of Fourth Ward.
Yeah,
You
yep.
don't even know about Fourth Ward no more.
yeah. The folk
Right.
gone.
Yeah.
That's what's
Yeah,
going to
oh
happen here
yeah,
in
forward.
Beaumont. So
Hey,
it's
now,
coming.
hey, but think about this. Think about it. Port Arthur is about to go through that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
Motiva
yeah.
ghost town.
is about. Is it Motiva? No, it's what is the refinery is about to buy up some of the property over there on the west side?
Valero.
Valero.
Yeah,
Valero.
Valero. Now they're gonna have to be very careful because they would try to steal your land.
Oh, they
They
stole
Try
the
to,
they
but
stole the
try.
whole
I
will.
thought
west.
that.
The
Man,
west
they
side is
they will
Yeah.
gone.
undereducate people. They will have people believing that they have eminent domain, and the
That's right.
only
And they don't.
people I know that have eminent
In the
domain
city.
is
Right.
governments.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I
So
thought. I
I
thought
hope
that.
they get educated. They have to get educated. As a matter of fact, I might have a show just myself to educate those so they can listen and educate
Yeah.
themselves about
Yeah.
what they should
I.
expect and what they should
I
receive.
thought. I know years back. I used to work at Texas Gas out there in Port Arthur, and I thought at one point in time Valero was already buying right across the freeway.
They were.
Uh, yeah, and they bought Prince Hall, like
Yeah.
that area. Didn't
Yeah.
they buy that land? The
Yep.
what was it? Arthur Place or something like that, and then Prince Hall right next to it.
Yeah, those apartments,
I might be wrong with the name, but yeah, I
and
thought that they had
right,
talked
yeah, it's
about
like right
buying
next
that.
to a park and everything else.
Okay.
Right, right.
That's
The
I
Prince
thought that
apartment,
Hall,
they
isn't
had
it?
I
That's
think
Prince
that's Prince
Hall,
Hall
isn't it?
Terrace.
Yeah,
Prince
I
Hall,
think
yeah,
they have
Prince Hall, but
the gate
the
around
ones
it.
right next to it. Yeah, that. So I thought that they had bought them, and then Motiva, they're the ones buying downtown on or what is it on Gulfway, or is it Lakeshore?
no, that's on Proctor.
Like
That's around
Proctor. There you
On
go,
Proctor,
Proctor.
Proctor, yes.
Proctor
Yeah,
and
they're revitalizing that for
Eastern.
Right
their
now, if covered, if we get over cover 19 in Motiva's downtown Port Arthur, I
uh
promise you, y'all can write it down. You can. I hope some of the listening.
You say
That
take a
yeah,
picture, huh?
Port Arthur. You can write it down. You can. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Once they start building down there and buying that property up cheap, we ain't gonna be able to come
oh
back down there.
no,
But it's gonna stop and happen right here in Beaumont,
but
though, Tony.
deal is that's also a Saudi Arabia company.
That's right.
They're
But
not investing all their money back into Texas. So I don't
you
even
got
understand why we got millionaires here. We got businessmen that could have did all this same stuff, but they're too busy hoarding all their dollars instead of making more money and investing in the community. We need to get more people involved that want to see the city that they say that they care about grow.
Them
It ain't gonna happen
investors,
unless
those same billionaires investors that you were talking about, James, are the
huh?
same billionaire investors that invested in Valero.
True, true. Got stock in them.
Most of the people here, when you hear about a big money guy here, that big money guy is more than just a big money guy here. That
Right,
big money
right,
guy is like low key the puppet master here. That big
right.
money guy makes sure that and he eats very well. That big
He
money guy
probably
makes sure that other businesses only do so much.
right. He probably moves the chess pieces around for the head, the
Exactly.
knight, the queen, the bishop.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
makes
yeah.
sense.
A lot of people don't realize is if you ride around the north and the south ends, I hate to keep bringing it up, but you ride around those ends of towns and you'll see how much they're shrinking. especially the north end. It's shrinking by the day. Property values are going down.
Right.
And the south end, it's not. Chris, you live there, and you know that it's shrinking, and it's shrinking for a reason. It's not just because
Right.
it's being bought
Right.
up.
Right.
Bought at a
Right,
cheap
right
price.
under our nose.
Right.
under our
And
nose.
that brings me back to what the guy at City Hall said about LMI, low to moderate income grants and monies that the federal government and the state government have. Now, the crazy part about it is these monies been going back and forward, but it never one time has been specified. I mean, earmarks in specifics to LMIs, low to moderate income communities. That and these are things that we have to be cognizant of. Okay, we're talking about low to moderate income areas not having adequate economic developments, housing developments, infrastructure. So all that is in these grants. When they get those grants, where you think the low to moderate income individuals that live in the North End and the South End and South Park live now, where you think we're going to be? In the West End. But the area, the homes, the infrastructure, all of that of where we are now is going to, it's going to be pristine.
Yep.
And all they doing is, and pretty much like Mr. Perry said, it's a population shift. I'll deprive this side so you can move. And when you move, prized possession is when you move.
Yeah, and that's what they want. That's what they want. That's why. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that alone. So.
Oh no, we on the round table.
Right, Mr. Tony? We on the round table.
You sitting at the round table. You say what you want to say.
But we
your mind, your ass will follow.
we sitting back as a race. We sitting back as a city, and we just letting everything been taken from us without nothing said.
Well,
nothing, especially in Beaumont.
Yeah, and again, we're at the round table. We're talking about everything. Yeah. Everything goes at the round table. But remember, people, we've got to vote.
We definitely have to vote, and we have to vote with sense. And I'm not saying we don't have sense, but I'm saying we have to vote with sense of direction. We have individuals that's in office for I don't know however long, but we haven't progressed. We haven't been shown
after you see,
where we're going.
You see after 5 terms, right? 5 terms of 2 years apiece, and you have no change. So why keep on banging your head against the same brick wall?
Well, but my thing is, if you allowed it, why should I change? Frederick Douglass says the amount of government you allow is the type of government you're going to get.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, if we've allowed people to get away for 3 terms, they're not going to do nothing the 4th and 5th term.
Right.
No. They're comfortable. They know that they got the seat.
They're not. That's what you accept. No.
That's what you accept.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we got about 15 more minutes left. But since we're going there, let's say this: what do you guys think about term limits at city?
2 terms.
I mean,
I would think. Now you said 2 terms.
If you can't get it right in 4 years, you're not gonna never get it right.
I would say 2 3 years terms.
That's too long.
Say this: why not be able to come in 2 terms? Then after that, automatically you got to leave. And then after that, if they want to vote you back in, run the next like 2 years after that or 4 years after that. So make it like a up and down compared to just straight.
No,
you ain't gonna do nothing the second time either.
I hear you, but here's this. Why do terms? I mean, because I feel like that's part of the challenge.
Right.
Because if we say 2 terms, then we're gonna give somebody that if you're the incumbent, you're gonna get your second term because everybody gonna wait till you're not in.
Yeah.
No, if you in here, whatever your ideas are, they should always be challenged.
Oh
Always.
yeah,
They should always be challenged.
yeah,
Forget the term limits. Put somebody in there who will whoop them.
Well, I mean, like I don't think
Because
that's possible at this, with this current
right.
establishment.
With how we
I mean,
got it now, it
we have a lot of
yeah,
discrepancies when
it's
it
not
comes to voting. I mean, and
right.
not just voting, people getting out to vote. We're talking about discrepancies where there are questions if the vote has even been counted correctly.
Right.
There are instances
I
where
remember that
uh,
conversation Perry gave
I
us the
mean,
last time.
we have
I think we need to hear it
instances
again.
where we're not knowing for sure if the numbers that you are putting out is the numbers that's real.
right, I agree with you, and again that comes with the education because, but that's not unique to Beaumont. Everywhere you go, people are always telling you to go vote, but going vote is only half of the process.
Yes.
Right.
The other part of the process is the count. And so, if we look at this as we look at money, I tell people it's like putting a wheelbarrow full of cash and you just dump it down this chute and you wait for that counter to tell you how much
How much
money
it?
you put
Yeah.
down. You
Right.
You
never
didn't
counted your
verify.
money, you never
Right.
did anything,
Right.
and you keep waiting on a number. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, so, and like most Negroes, you wait for the machine to mess up. And if it mess up in your favor, you feel good.
Right.
But when it mess up and you don't like the number, then what you gonna do?
Right. 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 And see, like
Well,
that's one of the things that I
that's all Trump did in
tried to get with the
2016. Trump said, okay, I walked in, yeah, I cheated, prove it. And we ain't have now
now
number to
proof.
compare.
Nothing.
Yep.
Nothing.
And
And
we
I
do the same in our voting. And that's what I'm saying. We got to take better control of our communities.
a lot better. A lot better. And hold
Because there was a
these
time when
things
something happened in
evident.
the communities, somebody knew what was going on in the community.
Right.
I
Right.
I tell you like this, just like in a lot of overseas cultures and whatnot, there's always elders, right? What happened to, or can there still be elders of, you know what I'm saying? Like elders of the community,
They
and then
scared.
those elders get together and talk to each other about what's going on, almost like localized councilmen that then go to the city's council and say, look, this is what we're agreeing on, and then force the vote. Change the whole seating if the council doesn't, do as all these elders of the community say. Look, I mean, it's organization,
Yeah.
so if enough individuals have the same common goal, even if they have disagreements here and there, which everybody has disagreements here and there, but it's still, if the common goal is bigger than the disagreements, then the common goal will always win. So if the narrative is pushed that a councilman is not doing what they should be doing for your ward, then those individual elders in that ward say, hey, we got to get our vote out, like a basic, each ward has its own union. So each union basically will vote out that council person, but then those elders need to go to all the youth 18 and above that will vote and get them to vote, especially in the incumbents that have been in there for 10, 12 years that hadn't did nothing. We got to change that, and it's going to take a whole lot of the young vote from 18 on up. We got to get them out of looking at Facebook all day to go out there and like I think Terry said, yeah, you're going to stand in line for or you're going to be in the drive-through for Popeye's chicken because it came out, but yet you're not going to go vote. So there was a young individual that actually started signing up people in that Popeyes line and somewhere else, but started signing up people in the Popeyes line to vote. Because if you got to catch them at a candy shop buying candy, we got to catch them. One way or another, you got to push that vote because nothing's going to change. We need to spark the interest on, look, you happen to be voting for the candidate that won. Maybe this time they will win. Maybe next time they won't win. But yet, look, your vote does count. You know, you're one of those 13,000 right there. That's yours, 13,766. You're the 66. You're that 6 on the end of that. You're that one that made it 66. But until we can get to that point to tell these youngsters that they do matter and that they can change the course of their own history when they're our age or older, they're not having to live in depression because they have nothing, because things were not set up in their community where they could grow, because there's not enough infrastructure out here. There's not enough jobs out here or whatever. Yeah.
Exposure.
Yeah. Well, here's where I'm at. I don't think we got a bad apple problem. I think we got bad trees.
True.
You know, you can put a spoiled apple and it'll spoil a few. We got some badass trees.
Right. We got some angry orchards around there.
You know, no, but to go to your point though, I never knew, but it was brought to my attention. There was a point in time when the Pear Orchard was gated and closed.
Long ago.
It was on. You couldn't get into the Pear Orchard but through one way.
Come on.
And it shocked me. And it was like, oh yeah. So to what you saying, we have done that before.
Yeah.
Because that's the way it used to be. That was a point when, between Mr. Babineau and Reverend Price, nothing came out of there.
Nothing came out of there. Yep.
Right.
You know, and nobody complained.
Right.
You know, and they looked after, and folk looked up to those. But what has happened since?
Yeah. That standard is dropped. That standard is like no more.
And so it's back to us.
Yeah.
I keep bringing it's back on us.
It's still on us, because if we know the standard and we're not educating others of the standard, or at least holding them to the standard, then it's on us.
Yeah, a lot of people doing just a lot of talking on Facebook, but nobody's going to these meetings and talking to these people. And
I try to tell that to people.
I used to be that person,
so I know. Fantastic.
That's
holding your state rep to the fire, holding your governor to the fire, holding these individuals to the fire. I send and receive emails from every representative that I directly elect and or indirectly elect, and most of their correspondence that I communicated to them I share on my Facebook page. Some friends and family members are like, Chris, you know that's a Republican. I don't care. That son of a gun, he represents me right now, and the policies that he pushed right now governs me right now.
Right.
I don't care if
you need to know.
Absolutely. Right. So, one of the things that I try to do is I try to educate people outside of party lines. Because both parties, you ask me, both parties has done us dirtball.
Right.
Oh yeah. For the main point of individual parties, man, I get so tired of Democrat this, Republican that. Man, golly, like Chris was saying, get out of that, man. Start voting for the Republican that does it, does a good job, and start voting for the Democrat that does. Yeah, vote the person, don't vote the damn party. Yeah, don't vote the party, vote the person, vote the policy.
I just want to say something.
I had a conversation with a Republican lady the other week, and I told her, I said, understand, for me, it's imperative that the Republican Party brings about a quality candidate, because if not, you forcing me to only choose the lesser of something that I can tolerate, and I'm not trying to just tolerate something.
Exactly. No. And I've also suggested to the Republican Party, stop advertising on one side of the city as if it's,
Right.
And a lot of people say, well, Chris, are you Republican? I'm gonna tell you again, I don't go by party, I go by policy.
Right.
And regardless to if it's a black Republican, black Democrat, white Democrat, if your policy govern that you are pressing for to govern me lines up with me as a human, then I will support you. But outside of that, I'm sorry, I can't support you. I'm not gonna join your party. I'm not gonna go to your rally. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna wear no buttons. I'm not gonna none of that.
Right.
Because it's the policy that governs us. Just like I try to let people know, the city of Beaumont mayor elections or city of Beaumont elections should be more paramount than the national election. Because whatever they impose as city ordinance right now happens right now. If Mayor Haynes was to say,
I'll put this to you. You know what you should change? You should move the election to an even odd year, because it has been proven that city election in odd number years always produce no more than 15% turnout.
Vote. Yep.
So when you have these elections in odd years, you find out that your city government is going to always be governed by a small, minuscule part of the community.
And that's like 11% in Beaumont.
6.
So,
yeah.
6.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 13,000 out of 79,000, right? Last time.
Yeah.
13.5, something like that, out of 79.
Yeah.
And they happy with that amount of voting.
Some cities have moved theirs and seen it increase to 75%. And that's made the city better.
Yeah, somebody had said, Alderman Samuels won with 15,000 votes. I'm like, that ain't much though, like at all. So what the what the hell?
15,000.
I mean 1,500. So how's it that he's even proud of that? That's not any kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like out of 79,000, 1,500 came out there and voted for an incumbent that had been there so long. Like, you should have 30,000 people come vote for you, because you should be moving policy to help out your ward that much. But damn, only 1,500 came out. Like, you're an incumbent, you should have everybody in your ward come out and vote for you. You should, I mean, if you're doing the right job. So this dude has been in there so long and still doesn't have any kind of voters really underneath him.
Less than 8,000 voted for the mayor. So figure that. Hey, 8,000 out of 68,000.
I couldn't be proud. Right, I could not be proud if I had been in for the longest. They brag she's the longest sitting mayor or something like that. But you only had that many people out of 79,000 people come out and even give a damn to vote for you.
But that's all that matters, though.
Right.
Until we decide to change it.
Exactly. 100%.
Well, and that's looking at it in a bigger sense. But then when you look at it when it happens in your ward and to the people, whether it's constables or whatever else, that affects your community, because you're not getting the best. You're only getting, you're only getting what the few are really feeling, and it's not really. And when you look at that again, I'm back to it being no more than a high school homecoming contest.
Yeah. Who voted for Queen?
That is really what Beaumont elections end up looking like.
That's like even out in the West End. I think it was like they only had like 1,800 votes in the West End for Ward 2. That's nothing.
Wait a minute.
I think it was anywhere between 1,800 and 2,400, something like that. So
I'm gonna say it again, gentlemen. When you have been paying attention since 2007, and you see that they put 68 people came to this poll, and 36 people came to this poll almost every day
Right.
during the early election. And
Right.
you sitting out there as a candidate
Right.
or somebody working somebody's campaign, you did not count 3 people, let alone 37 people. So how is it
Right.
that you on the inside of this voting booth put 36 people on this door? When the person
Right.
comes around to read the door, they put 36 or 37 people. The next hour and 15 minutes, they put 36, 39 people. And we know that not 30 something people came here every day.
Right.
There are too many discrepancies
Woo!
in our elections. And
Right.
if we can't get a hold to what's going on, the discrepancies in the elections, have somebody investigate these elections just like we had somebody investigate the district attorney's office,
Right. Well,
you'll
what
never
about
have a free and fair election here in Beaumont.
right? What about though each party, like let's say me and Chris ran and we ran for the same thing. What about having one of our volunteers sit there with a counter?
It
I
would
see
not
this many
matter,
people.
James. There are moments
Well,
where my poll watcher was not allowed beyond the little imaginary line that they put out there. A poll
right, right,
watcher,
right,
poll watchers
right.
cannot have on any paraphernalia.
Yeah.
Poll watchers cannot support a candidate,
Okay.
especially when they're going from poll to poll to read the numbers that they put on the door, and
Right.
or go sit in the poll in the tabulation room. Every
Okay.
single time I had a written somebody that was written and designated for my poll watcher. My poll watcher was not allowed in the tabulation rooms at
But
all.
hold on. Did they post the results afterwards?
I mean,
Because
well,
by law, they're supposed to post the results.
get this, Mr. Perry. You have a at-large race that's called, the polls closed at 7. You have an at-large race that's called at 7:05, and then you have a ward race that's called at 10:11. You tell me what's going on.
Right.
And
They're doing
that
that all.
happened. That
They're
that
doing that
happened
all for
recently.
projected. See, this is where elections get messed up because they either have those exit poll people out there, but here's what we found out: the media is in such a rush to try to get a call
Yeah. Right.
that they're
Jumping the
out
gun.
there doing this sampling, and now they're finding out lately that if you didn't sample this stuff right now, it starts to look crazy
Yeah.
because when the votes come in, but they're supposed to post those poll tapes because they're supposed to be there for the public, and you don't have to be. In fact, you can be a general citizen and observe the closing of a poll of a
Right.
precinct.
Right.
They cannot remove you from that.
See,
Because
a lot of
that's
people
the
don't know
part
that
about
power.
having a free and fair election
Right,
is being, and as long as you're not trying to get in their way,
right. And
Yeah.
endorsing a candidate.
right, you can stand there and observe. And they're supposed to post that poll tape. That's what we did here. We've been taking videotapes of poll tapes and matching them against the results once they come in, just to do that verification.
Mm-hmm. Just so that they can stay
Because
on their
that's the part
toes.
I'm telling people. See, usually we didn't got so used to go and vote, then we go home or we go to the victory party. But we waiting on them to give us an answer, and we don't have an answer.
Right, right.
Right.
So yeah, I'm with you. Put somebody out there with a clicker. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just one way to balance it.
Right. And it doesn't tell you who goes to vote for who, but it tells you
Right.
how
It
many
tells you
people are
how many
actually
people
Right.
going
are
to
It
that
tells
actually
you
site.
how
going
many
into that
people
Right.
there.
poll. Right.
So each person that at least even if it in the incumbents, maybe it should just. I mean, who cares if whatever they do? You know what I'm saying? But maybe for quality check, basically. Me, Chris, if we ran for something, then I need to have my person that represents me and how many people, okay, 1, 2, and just focus your eyes on that door. That's what you're supposed to be doing because I want to know 39 people came in here today. I want to know 155 people came in here today. And then after that, it lets you know actually who showed up. Because now if there's 177 and there was only 155, now we got problems.
Yeah. Well, I will have to talk about it later, but there is a thing that we found in voting that's called fraction magic, and it's all based on the simple on really a math principle. And that was once they started with the 3/5 compromise, they introduced fractions in the voting. And the only way you can get a fraction out of voting is to introduce a fraction that cancels it out. And there hasn't been. And so Negroes still hollering about one person, one vote. You better be careful that we not 3/5, we might be 2/5.
Wow.
When it's all said and done and how they divvy up voting.
Right.
Shoot. We've seen them undercount black votes.
You're right, Mr. Perry.
So you better make sure you count what's going on in there. Because they know that we don't supervise our elections.
Right.
They know there's still an oversight.
Right.
I agree.
Wow.
Yeah.
How
agree.
How much do y'all think that pertains to particularly Beaumont though?
Say it again.
I say, how much do y'all believe that pertains to Beaumont? I know that pertains to also a lot of other places as well. Do you think that that's heavily influenced out here in Beaumont?
Hell yeah.
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 But I mean, do you think that the vote is that strong in the black community in Beaumont?
Depends. It doesn't have to be a lot. I mean, it can make a difference in a local race, but in a statewide race, as long as they can. In a statewide race, a few undercounts here and there always helps, because while they undercounting you, undercounting you, how many folk in Beverly Oaks and back there in the woods and in Rose Hill,
right?
So they can add a little few. They can add a few over there, because you don't know how many people in the woods.
Right.
Oh, wow. Hey, everybody.
And they not checking either.
No.
They got extra votes out there. They ain't know.
Well,
they didn't know. They don't care.
They're ready for that. They're ready for the victory party.
The after party.
Hey, I have enjoyed you guys this evening.
Man, this was a good one. I enjoyed it.
It was good, man.
And I hope we can do this again. Well, we are going to do this again on every first Thursday of the month. And
we're going to be definitely communicating so we could hash out some of these solutions that we've been talking about. So whenever y'all watch us, see our face in the community, we're going to be like John Lewis, stirring up good trouble.
Good trouble,
man.
I got one thing.
And we haven't even got into we haven't even got into the city details on the city council, the next city election. We haven't even gotten to that yet. So that's going to be deep.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll wait till after you have that.
We got a lot on our plate right now.
There you go,
I just want to say one thing to Perry. You remember a while back, you sent me I was doing a lot of talking on Facebook, and you told me, you said, Terry, you're going to have to get off of Facebook and go meet these people face to face. And ever since you told me that, that's what I've done. And I appreciate you telling me that and pushing me to do that, because you're one of the reasons why I am like I am. I just want you to know that. So,
I know why, Mr. Why.
He told me to get off of Facebook and go to these people, and I did.
Right.
And we do need to go out and meet these people and see these people, and we need to be at the city council meetings as well.
Mm-hmm.
And also we need to be at the Jefferson County meetings.
Yeah, commission meetings.
Know what's going on. We
need to be at these DD6 meetings.
What they saying, huh?
I was about to say these DD6
meetings.
That's why we
yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
That's where the big money at too.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why we
nothing happen without counting.
That's why they can run. That's why they can run game on us, because we don't pay attention. We don't know what's going on.
We're so disconnected.
Who's who? You know.
Yeah. So we're gonna
Two things to
definitely
that.
put that out, Mr. Perry. Those particular offices and different things. So again, watchers, be mindful because we're gonna definitely start.
Yeah.
We got to
We
dedicate a
go.
moment to. We got to dedicate a moment to DD6 and also what Chris was saying,
Yeah,
how Washington Irving floods when Washington was actually the last program to push pipeline to Nature's River. Dr. Magellani said, and Calder was, and then they don't
allegedly.
want to do allegedly exactly why pipe everything gravity fed all the way to the intercoastal canal when the Nature's River is right there. And I gave them a plan. I gave DD6 and the city of Beaumont a plan to pipe it under Delaware as a start instead of one of our bottlenecks all the way at the Hillebrand Bayou and Washington Boulevard. But instead, they don't want to go half and half on no projects and then get with FEMA together as two entities to make things happen. So we're going to continue to flood until we start talking about that and getting more people invested in that. We're still going to be stuck with these same people that think that they know more than we do. And we've seen the waters and which way the waters travel.
And the sewage.
We can't let it be a New Orleans. We can't let it be a New Orleans.
You cannot.
Well, I hope they're listening, and I hope we
Oh,
all.
I'm sure.
I'm sure they are, but and we just educating ourselves, educating the public, educating our community, educating.
Sharpening each other.
Yeah, we are,
Yeah.
and this is what this platform is. Power is knowledge.
Yeah.
Right,
If
right.
you holler, sorry that rock hit you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a whole full schedule for August and September. Please be out every Sundays and Tuesdays. Please join me on Knowledge is Power. Now, if you should miss the show, we're on Knowledge is Power Facebook page as well, and you can go back and see those particular
And YouTube.
podcasts and YouTube. Yes, YouTube.
Yeah.
Go back and going back into the archives of Knowledge is Power. With that was said, I'd like to everybody else have a last word before we depart for another day.
If I can have the very last word, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. No.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought somebody else had the very
No.
last word. If we possibly could, listeners, watchers, our country is in mourning. Our cities are in mourning. We have families that are in mourning. If we could possibly, please have a moment of silence for those that are in bereavement and that have lost a family member. Thank you.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Hey guys,
Very well.
thank you so much. We'll meet again. We're gonna do this again in September. Remember my full slate of podcasts in August on Knowledge is Power, and one of the shows Sunday. Please join us on Knowledge is Power podcast live on this Sunday, August 9th, with my guest, Dr. Mark Poirier, and of the Port Arthur Independent School District, and Dr. Shannon Allen of the Beaumont Independent School District. We're going to be facing the kids are going back to school. Teachers are already starting to report. So we're going to get some updates. We're going to have some updates from the superintendents in both district, and from there, guys, I'll see you later. Have a good day. God bless. Remember, knowledge
It's power.
It's power.
Love you, brothers.
All right.
All right, man. Appreciate y'all.